Hey friends, it's Jenny. I have the latest John Bead Curiosities box, and I'm really excited. I just got back in town and this was waiting for me. I have been a very good girl and I did not spoil this for myself. I have not actually watched Emma's unboxing yet. I'm going to as soon as I'm done filming this, but I wanted my 100% true reactions to everything in here. So, because I'm excited. It's Marie Antoinette, friends. I do know that Emma over at Baby Squirrel Beading she recently went to visit the warehouse in Canada, and she was there while they were curating this box. So she definitely has some inside scoop, inside information. If you haven't watched her unboxing, I'm going to have a link to it in the description below so that you can go check it out, because she's going to have more information than I will. But my video is not necessarily going to be an unboxing, although I am doing that as well. But here on our channel, Becky and I like to organize our subscriptions or curated boxes. The reason that we do that is if we leave it in this box, as fun as this box is, I won't be thinking about the individual beads. I won't be thinking about them. I won't be inspired by them. And so we typically will, this feels like it's really close. I'm going to back it out just a little bit. Whoops, that's the wrong direction, Jen. We will typically put our beads in various containers. Our go-to size is this one here. This is another collection I have in here right now. This is our 15 grid organizer. This fits most of our subscriptions, but it does not fit the John Bead Curiosities box. And I know that from experience. Last time, so this is my second Curiosities box. This is number 16. My first one, I discovered that I needed a larger 18 grid organizer. It has deeper wells than the 15, and there's more of them for like the beads that are larger, or that there's like a large quantity of. So these were what I considered my focal beads. And then there were a lot of great bead mixes that I then sorted into this 28 well organizer, which these just come out 4 at a time. They have individual lids, so you can just pop it open and spill it out. I found that these are great for storing check glass selections, which a lot of these are. So that's what I used last time, and it fit most of the items in the box. There were still items that would not fit in either of these two things, but at least I had the beads covered. So the John Bead Curiosities box is filled with vintage goodies. It was developed because John Bead's been around for a while, established 1954, and they kind of fixed my lighting. I took my lighting down when I went out of town last time, and I don't think I have it back the way it was supposed to be, but that's okay. I've got another light that I'm hoping will come in and help balance whatever is weird about this setup now. But hopefully you'll be able to see everything just fine. Anyway, sorry, tangent. And I know at least one friend is gonna be like, Jen, just open the freaking box. Show us the beads. But I did want to tell you that John Bead Curiosities box is full of vintage beads. So this is going to possibly have beads you haven't seen before, haven't seen in a long time. But because it is a vintage bead curation, it is by necessity limited on its subscriptions. Now, when I posted my organizing video for the Creep It Real box from October, that was number 15, not long after, all the subscriptions sold out. I believe there were only a few available at the time anyway, but all the subscriptions sold out. As of this recording, subscriptions are open again. I don't know how many are available, but if you want a subscription, the link is going to be in the description below. And you can subscribe. It was $49.95 or $49.99 US dollars, and it includes worldwide shipping. US orders ship out of their warehouse in New York, and all other orders ship from Ontario, Canada. So just so that you know. And if the subscriptions are sold out, but there are still boxes available for the next box, there are currently pre-orders available for Mistletoe. I don't remember the name of it. Mistletoe Magic, I think it is. there it will also show there. So the very same link is going to take you to where you can see if there are subscriptions available, as well as if there are any upcoming boxes that are available for pre-order. Marie Antoinette is sold out, but I hope that those of you who got it are excited and want to play with it and will be inspired by things that I might make. And even if you didn't get this box, but you're inspired by the things I made, I hope that you dig into your stash and go from there. So I think it's about time to cut this open. My dog is pacing underneath my desk, so forgive the clicky claws. Until she settles, it's just going to be something we deal with. She's being very clingy. She always is when we travel. So I need to, I need to open it on the other sides too. I was like, why isn't this opening? All right. I'm definitely showing you more of my mat than I usually do. So here is Marie Antoinette. I'm going to set this box up here and pull things out of it when we get to it. So here is Marie Antoinette, collection number 16. Glimmers Beneath the Crown. My dog is trying to get in my lap. Hold on. So sorry. I'm pausing. She is a 50-pound dog, friends. She is not necessarily one that should be climbing into my lap while I'm sitting at a desk. All right, let's read this card. In secret corners of Versailles, Marie Antoinette found solace not in silks or feasts, but in beading. I didn't know that about Marie Antoinette. Her delicate fingers strung pearls onto fine wire, crafting necklaces far humbler than her crown. Each bead a quiet rebellion, each shimmer a whisper of the girl she once was. Courtiers scoffed, but she smiled. Jewelry she made herself felt truer than any royal gift. When the revolution came, she wore a bracelet of her own making to the trial. It broke as they led her away, scattering beads across the cold stone floor. Small, glittering echoes of a queen who once created beauty in silence. I did not know that about Marie Antoinette. That is a really interesting tidbit. Love her or hate her, she was a beater like us. Who knew? Okay. Oh, this looks so decadent with the gold tissue paper. Like, this is just an experience opening it. So I'm going to stay zoomed out until we kind of pull everything out of the box. And then I'll zoom in. Oh my goodness, how pretty is this? This is some finished jewelry. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to wear it, but I might be able to pull apart parts of it, like to use these. They're not actually attached to anything, these pendants. There's just too much metal here that I might be allergic to. I do have a metal allergy, so that is something that is always a consideration, but this is a very bead heavy box. The focus is on these vintage beads. So I might give this to Becky and see if she wants to do something with this. I might use these dangles for something because there's just that loop. We'll see. We'll see. But that's really cool. A nice little finished piece, or a brooch and some tools. I'm not going to open it right now. It's stapled closed. I'm not going to open it at the moment. I'll explore that later. And we've got our Marie Antoinette sticker. They did this with the last box too. So we have our card and a little sticker that is themed like the sticker that was on this box. And then we've got, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just going to start pulling some things out, and I'm probably going to react as I pull them out because hello, look at this bead mix. Look at how gorgeous this is. Like, we're going to look at all of this in a lot better detail because I love to sort beads, and we're going to get them sorted and put into my organizers. But there's this bead mix in this little bag. There's this bead mix. Look at that flower. Oh, some very large decadent beads. I'm really excited about this. This has a lot of metal tones without actually being metal beads. It's metal finish. And so that means that I can use some of the things in this. I'll have to go through and find out what's actually metal or not, but that I can discover later. But these feel like some of these might be like acrylic beads, possibly, that have a metallic coating, acrylic or glass. I'm kind of hearing the move and thinking acrylic. I could be wrong. And then we have this box. full of more beads. Oh, there's going to be a lot of great focal beads in this. I'm so excited. Here's another bead mix that's got some peridot and navy colors and crystal. And then this bead mix. Oh, what a discovery this is. Like, this really is. I love the Curiosity Box. How cool are these beads? I'm excited about those too. And then we've got a couple of tubes with some other bead selections in them, including some fire polish and some little kind of nuggety shapes. Those are so pretty. Oh, these are like two-tone pearl style beads. Look at how cool that is. You see that two-tone? Oh, those are going to be fun too. Oh, look at these big guys. They've got that kind of checkerboard pattern on them. They're green and black. And then we've got this pendant, like very sparkly pendant. Okay, guys, one of the things that Becky and I decided we wanted to do this month was to do a make with every one of our unboxings. This is a magnetic clasp. It's a ball magnetic clasp. And look, it's lead-free, nickel-free. So I can use this clasp. Oh, that's a different kind of clasp. I don't know how to use that. I will have to figure that out because it doesn't have like, maybe you use it over like a culotte or a clamshell, or you stitch in. I don't know. I've never used that kind of clasp before. It's got a hole here instead of like a loop. So, oh, jeweled pins. Oh, this would have been perfect for my costume. If you didn't catch it, Becky and I did a, this has some other metals that I may not be able to use. They're not, this one doesn't happen to be labeled. But Becky and I did wrong era. It was Regency era, not Edwardian? No. I don't remember. Anyway, the time of the French Revolution. But some jeweled pins would have been great in my hair. Oh, and we've got some silk bead thread. It's kind of a dark chocolatey brown. I don't know if you can see that color. Chestnut is the official color. And, oh, here's a little, oh, it came off of the thing. They're little clip-on earrings, friends. They're little beaded clip-on earrings. How fun is that? I'm gonna clip them back on where they belong. But they're little black beaded clip-on earrings. Oh, and we've got our Marie Antoinette pin. I'll put that with the sticker and card. Metal complex. So these are some more clasps, it looks like. Toggle flat. They are also lead-free, nickel-free. So that's in the Jenny Yes pile. And then this one doesn't say. It's 6 pieces. Oh, they're little, that's cute. They're little charms, but they're like this kind of cage shape. Open cage. How cool is that? Oh, they're crimps. What? End with a crimp. Squeeze crimp bead, add jump ring, and clasp. It's showing how to use crimps, but these don't look like crimps to me, guys. I don't know what these are. The description on the back doesn't seem to match. That's okay. That's okay. We will figure that out. But I think that's everything out of the box. So let's get organizing. Okay. Oh, but what I was going to say is Becky and I this month are going to, whenever we open something, we don't do it all the time, but we do like to hey, let's do that this month. We like to go ahead and create something. So I'm going to make something after I finish getting all of this organized. So stick around so that you can see what I make. And I don't know, as I go through this and actually get into it in detail, that's where I'm going to start thinking about what do I want to make. So one of the things, so this is my 18 grit organizer. I think we're definitely going to be using these. There's some really great large beads in this collection that are definitely going to fit in this. I might, instead of using, just because of the size of the beads, instead of using this for accent beads, we might end up using a 15 grit organizer instead, but we'll see. I want to see what's going to fit in here first. So let's get these guys open. And I'm going to start with my stranded stuff, especially the larger beads like this, because I want to see how much space they'll take. These are big boys. They are 18 millimeter checker beads, round, and they are big. So they are probably not going to fit in this well as it is situated now, but they might fit if I pull out this section here to give it some more room. They might fit here. So that's how I'm going to try to make them fit. So they'll take probably 2 sections just because of the size of those beads. But they're so fun. Look at these beads. Those are so fun. I think I'm going to zoom back to a normal range, even though a lot of this is going to be off screen. In fact, I'm going to use that. We're going to move it so that there's less competition for what I'm showing you. And that way you'll see better what I'm pulling out. But I did want to have it zoomed out just because that box itself is so big. You kind of need to. So I'm just going to snip these. I'm not sure what material these are. I don't think they're glass. They're large beads, but they're not heavy like a glass would be. So that's actually good. It means your jewelry is not going to be too heavy. You could even, I think if you didn't use too many other embellishments, you could even use some of these in a chunky earring if you want a chunky earring. So that's a possibility. And there are, looks like it's 9 beads. I wonder if no, they're too big to fit two layers deep on this. I was like, I wonder if they actually would fit all in one, but they won't. No, not those big guys. Because here we've got this one. I can nestle him in between and then it's not so bad, but if we were having to try to get all 9 of them in one well, it just wouldn't work. So this works fine. If we need to, we might add some friends in with them if we need some space. There might be a roommate situation. These are also stranded, but I kind of want to get these other larger beads in first. Let's see how much space they take. So this bead mix does have a lot of large beads. Yeah, these don't feel like they're actually metal beads. They're like an acrylic bead with metal coating. So I don't think I have to worry about my allergies for these. So that's cool. But I love this. I love this. It does not have a hole. So I would need to probably figure out how to attach something. Oh, there is a hole. I found it. I found the hole, friends. There it is. So if you got this and you're looking for the hole, it is at the back. It's just made into it, just drilled right there. And again, this is more of like an acrylic kind of material. It doesn't fit by itself. In here, I want to see if I can fit it. So it might just be too big to fit in this box, just because of the dimensions. There we go. So it fits like this, as long as I remove one divider and put that there. So I'm going to put some other beads in with it that will kind of go in on this side and then maybe also tuck in underneath it, but it will close like this. So I've got that in there. And then we've got this bead mix. I've got one bead like this. We're going to put a lot of these, I think, kind of singlets in there. This is really cool. It's got some kind of creature on it. Maybe a dog. I'm kind of seeing a dog. And 2 of them are facing down and 2 are upright. So depending on how you use that, you might want to pay attention to if it's straight up and down, or if you're using it as a bar, it's just going to rotate between the two orientations. That's really cool. And he tucks nicely right under that flower. So that's where I'm putting our little dog bead. These guys, there's a lot of really big chunky beads. I'm really excited about this. Oh, they're 2-hole beads. Look. Okay, this is going to make a fun chunky bracelet. So I have 5 that are this coppery color, and then 2 that are more like an antique silver, but all the same shape. So that's what I got in my mix. These are mixes, so the exact quantities might be different for you, but that's really cool. So I don't think they'll fit. This is me, like I'm moving a lot of segments out of this box so that I can make things fit. Just because of the size of these beads. So I think that I can put these guys across 2 sections, both colors. I'm going to try to do that, and I'll show you what it does. I'm working at it off screen just because I only have so much room under the camera. All right, so that's how I've got that section, and it's going to be close to be able to close it, but I don't know, maybe I'll make a bracelet with these today. That could be a lot of fun, and also a challenge to myself. I've never made a bracelet with something this big, or and I don't do a whole lot with 2-hole beads. My sister does, but I haven't practiced with them as much, but that could be a lot of fun. We'll consider that because those are some really cool beads. We've got this ring. I'm going to put that in with the flower because there's room there. We've got, oh yeah, this is where my bead sorting happens. We've got these 3 that are all the same shape, but slightly different tones. So we've got this kind of antique gold, antique bronze, and kind of a light gold copper, almost coppery tone to it. It is actually, in the camera, comes across a tiny bit more coppery, maybe rose gold. Maybe we'll call that one rose gold. But there are 3 different metal tones. And it's kind of funny because while I was gone, a Joyful Beading started yesterday, and I was on the road. I literally could not make anything. But the prompt for the first day, which also, if you're not following along, we are doing Stash Camp. I'm going to have links to Jennifer Miller's channel in YouTube where Stash Camp is being hosted. You'll want to follow her and get subscribed and turn on your notifications, because sorry, it's just investigating the beads. It's a use your stash camp. So you don't have to buy anything. Everyone is invited. There's going to be designers all month long who are joining Jennifer on her channel during lives to share design ideas that we're going to use from our stash. And we encourage you to pull similar beads or other beads that inspire you from your stash to do that. So link to Jennifer Miller's channel for Stash Camp, and also a link to the Facebook VIB or the Softlex VIB group for Joyful Beading. In addition to John Bead for the subscription. There's going to be lots of links. But the prompt for yesterday, which I missed, was, I've got a lot of one-offs here, which is really cool and going to make some really interesting focal opportunities. These ones feel a little bit cooler to the touch. They might actually be metal, these rose ones. But the prompt, sorry, I keep getting distracted by beads. Like, as Becky says, I was distracted by beads. It's understandable. The prompt for Monday, the first day of Joyful Beading, was to do something with mixed metals. And if I do those chunky beads, I think that it counts. I think that would count. I could do a mixed metal bracelet for that and play a little bit of catch up with the Joyful Beading prompts. And there is a lot of that going on, a lot of this mixed metal. This one looks, these are a little bit more stainless steel. These are more bright silver. That's a more bright silver one. I've got one gold one like this. So there's a lot of fun beads. And this is what I do. I sort the beads and then I get them organized. Okay. Yeah, even this, there's some variation in it. Yeah, see, these sound different. I don't think they're metal though. Where is that little magnet? No, they're fine. So yes, I need to figure out where to put these. So I currently have room. I'm going to be doing some roommate situations. I'm going to put some more in here with this flower. I think maybe these one-off beads right here that I've got, they'll fit there. This one, it's a coin bead, but it reminds me of a button. It's not a button, but it reminds me of like the buttons on my dad's sport coat. That's what that makes me think of, my dad's sport coat. And then I think I'm going to do, instead of sorting these by type, I'm going to sort them by metal tone, because I think these guys, all these gold ones, will fit nicely in one well. Because I do have a tendency to stick with one metal tone. I'm going to do that challenge, but I do have a tendency to stick with one metal tone. And to me, that looks nice and tidy. And we have a lot of different types, so sorting by metal tone, I think, is a good move. Those are a little bit more antique colors. Even though, like I said, I don't think any of these are actually metal beads, which is good news for me with my allergies. So here we've got these. This is what we've got so far. We're going to see if there's something else that fits in here. Some of the larger, more single style beads are going to fit in here, I think. But this one, let's do this goodie bag because it also has a lot of large beads, and I'm really excited about the Baroque style pearls. I believe these are glass pearls. Oh, that one may actually be acrylic too. They're very light. Yeah, those sound acrylic. So we've got those. We've got some teardrops. Some of them are more like, so these are textured. And then these are smooth. Well, that one's a little bit textured. And there's different shapes and sizes. I like the, oh, these are shell. These are actually shell. Aren't they pretty? So pretty. And then, oh my gosh. Okay, so there's more of these. There were some of these in the last box. There were some different colorways. These are the red ones. Red and white and looks like black. So there's a couple different sizes of those shapes. They are lightly faceted. Let me get this here so you can see the color better. Like they're diamond faceted. Those are really cool. We've got some longer pearl drops, several of those, and then these smaller ones. It looks like I've got 4 of the smaller ones. 6 of these longer, narrower ones, 4 of those, 2 of these that are more textured, 4 of these that are textured, 5 of the shell beads, and then we've got these kind of gold toned drops, and then these, I think of these as like Saturn beads. They probably have another name, but they've got this ring around them, but the ring is red. So we've got the gold tone on the bead. Hold on, stop. And focus. But it's a red, like the bead itself is red, and then it's cut along the edge like that, so you see the red after it's been coated with the gold. So that's really cool. I like that. I got one little lone pearl that's that shape and size, but I've got 4 of these lampwork glass beads, and they are gorgeous. I don't know if you can see the details, kind of like a wine red. And then they have these little yellow and blue dots on them, and the gold. Those are some really pretty lampwork glass. I love that. Okay, so now I need to figure out how to put all of this in my organizer. And I'm just going to start with the biggest beads and put them in things, and then they're going to have roommates. So these guys are probably going to roommate with all of the other drops. Maybe not all of them. I want to have some of the bigger ones on top so I can see what I've got in there. I do have these little guys still. And I want to do one of these ones that's at the very bottom. Sorry, this is me digging in my beads after I put them in. It's okay. All right, so we've got the textured one, the long skinny one, and the small one, all visible at the top so you can see the different sizes. And because there's only one of them, I'm going to go ahead and put this lone little round pearl in here as well. So we've got those. And then I'm going to put these shell. I'm going to go ahead and lift one of these out so that I've got room to put some shells down below, but also across the top and this, so I can see. Again, the whole point of this, using this container, is so I can see what I've got in it and be inspired by it. So this gives me a good view of all those great shapes. And then we've got our red glass, and that is full, so we'll leave those as they are. Let's do these lampwork and lantern. I dropped one. It rolled over to my dog, but she settled, so I will retrieve that bead later. I do have one more of those beads. Hopefully I won't use that in today's design. And I'm going to put this, and let's go ahead because I do want the space. And again, they've got those same gold tones. These are the gold acrylic drops. So you can see the lantern, the lampwork, or the Saturn, the lampwork, and the drops. So this is what we've got so far in our box. This is filling up fast. This is the one that is for like the large beads. And I think I might need to use a 15 grid organizer just because of the size of the remaining beads. We have a lot fewer very small beads like we did in the last month. And I guess that's just gonna change. How I divide these up and store them is just gonna change as we see what the selections are, because they're all gonna be unique and different every month. So yay, I'm excited about that. Okay. Go back into our normal range because we're going to look at some more beads. Let's do these because there's also some larger beads in here that I want to make sure get put in the larger container. My goodness, friends, this is a lot of beads. And I think I said that last month. This is definitely, if you are wanting to build your stash, it's a great stash builder, but with cool beads, not just get all the, quick, cheap beads you can, because it does have so many great vintage beads. I love these. They're kind of a spiral cut. Look at how pretty that is. And there are two of them, and they seem to be the same size. I love those. And then there's this one, tiny bit smaller, but it has more of like a gold or champagne tone to it. Let me see if it will show well on the dish. So that compared to that. So this is clear with AB. This one is almost more of like a kind of a jonquil color. It might even be clear with like a gold like haze on it. Oh, and there is another one of that is a little bit smaller. So we've got these two different sizes, same finish. I think these might be the friends nope, they were too big to go in with those friends. They're going to have to go on their own. Let me get the rest of these divided up. We've got these, they look like 10 millimeter glass pearls in this really pretty soft green color. I love this color, and you can definitely hear that. These are glass. Those are glass. And then we have these, those might be 12 millimeters. I have a caliper. I got it specifically for this box just because I knew that because of the nature of this box, nothing is really labeled with the right size. Let me see if that thing is powered up. I haven't got it out of its packaging yet, and I will be right back. Look, I have have my digital caliper. I have not used this, so you're going to play along with me, but it's a digital caliper and it's actually pretty heavy. So I guess I just put it here and then squeeze it till it's closed. Oh, that's inches. Let me switch. Millimeter. So yeah, that's 13.59. I'd call that probably a 14 millimeter almost. And I don't think it's centered. Hold on. There we go. That's centered. So 14 millimeter on the green ones and 12 millimeter on the blue ones. They're so pretty. I love this navy blue. I love, love, love this navy blue. I love blues. I mean, I just do. I love blues and greens. So these together are making me very happy. They're definitely going to be getting special places in my box. And then we've got these crystal faceted with AB. And there's quite a few of them as well. I wasn't counting. I don't always count, but when I think about it, then I'm like, oh, I need to count. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 of those. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of the blue. And 12 of the green. So a dozen each of this really pretty light green and the blue, 15 of these crystals. And I need to start putting them in my box. Oh yeah, these green ones take a whole well all on their own. Ta-da! These blue ones, because they're smaller, they won't take as much space, but I don't think they have enough room to share with these crystals. So I'm putting the crystals here. All of these might end up with some roommates if I choose to, because we still have a lot of beads to go through, friends. I also have these, which are, there's just a couple of each of them, and I think I'm going to put them in with some of these metal tone, so I can see easily what metal tone is underneath the crystally glass beads, but they also have a home. So I like that positioning. These are freaking cool, guys. These are cool beads. So they have one flat side, but then, so there's the flat side, and then you flip it over and hello, rainbow. They're gorgeous. Oh my gosh, look at that one. That one shows it better than any of them, like with that positioning. Like, hello, rainbow. It does have that flat side, so you want to make sure that you're stringing them in a way that the fun side is out. But they're so cool. I love those. I do. I love those. And it looks like we have about 15 of them. Okay, they might have to go in the smaller size box, so I'm going to set them aside just because there's so few and I don't want them to get lost in a well with roommates. I just don't. So I'm going to set them aside. We do have some more large beads. I want to make sure. I've only got 2 wells left and some possible roommate situations in my 18 grid organizer. So this is where we stand so far. You can see there's a little bit of room in both of these, and there's some room here, and then we've got these 2 openings. So let's get into some more beads. And I'm doing this one. These look like, I don't know, maybe they're halide or magnesite. I don't know for sure. Or they might be glass made to look like it. No, those feel like stone. Those feel like stone. But there are some very large beads here, and I wanted to make sure that we could fit them in our larger container. Oh, yes, they do. Okay, so these are the beads, and they are, I'm going to use my fun caliper. They're 30 on the narrow end by, it's like 39, 40, 39. Yeah, they're big. But they do fit. See this well that I have here? This one's a little shorter because of the latch. But these guys are gonna fit. Oh no, maybe I can't fit all 6 of them. Okay, so then the other two are going to remake here with my green beads, because I can only fit 4 there, but we can still see our green beads here. Maybe. I don't know if that'll latch. Nope, that won't latch. Hold on. Going into another section isn't going to help. A 5th one does fit alongside there. If I only have 1 in here, then it'll latch. So I got 5. It's a bit of a squeeze, but I got them in there. Our flower turned. Okay, I got it latched. I got it latched. No beads have been compromised. All right, but this is very full, so we're gonna keep going. Since I've got those in here, I kind of want to put these other ones that go with them. So we've got these teardrop shapes, and I lost another bead. That one didn't go too far though. So these are more of like a teardrop shape. Oh, let's go back to our normal zoom so that you can see these better. And I've got 10 of those. And then we've got a bunch of fantastic nuggets. I'm loving this. Oh, we've got some rounds. Rounds, these. Okay, I'm gonna do it because I have a caliper now, friends. I'm not gonna guess that those are 10 millimeter. I'm gonna show you that they're 10 millimeter. I would have guessed 8, but apparently not. Okay, just make sure. There we go. Okay. All right. So we got some rounds, and then we've got some nuggets. So this is all super fun. I'm going to put in, I'm going to leave a couple out right here to go in on the top so I can see what's in there. Same thing with the rounds. I think I can fit all of these in that last little while. No, I can't, friends. I cannot fit them. That is going to be full. So, let's decide what we're doing with this. So they won't fit. Sorry for banging the camera. I think if I put the teardrops elsewhere, I can fit the rounds and the nuggets together. Maybe these teardrops will go with our blue pearls. And by the way, these are drilled side to side through the top. Okay, so if I move these and I just do the rounds and nuggets, does it fit? Oh, that's the question. Yeah, so those fit. I just need to find a home for, I kind of want to put those with the pearls though. And we might be getting into our other box because, yeah, choices. We just still have 2 strands, a bead mix, and those 2 vials of beads that we still need to do. So I think that's fine. I think that's fine. These guys are probably going to go in the next box though. So I'm going to leave this open in case I decide to add anything to it from what else we open. But I'm going to grab my 15 grit organizer because this size of bead is not going to fit very well in the 28 that I had originally. So this is our go-to, our favorite organizer, what most of our subscriptions fit in. Not this one, as you can see. But I want to go ahead and do this. So we're going to start out with these. Oh, I didn't show you these. I got so distracted by those other stone beads. I didn't show you these beautiful glass beads. Aren't they pretty? They're purpley with that chevron shape. Quite lovely. And they're banded across one side and chevron on the other. So orientation does matter on some of them. Some of them manage to do chevron on both sides, but those are really sweet. A very romantic color. And I'm loving that about this box, is it all feels very, very romantic, but also decadent, and that excites me. All right, let's get this bead mix filled out. Oh my gosh, okay. So there's these abalone shell beads that are just, oh, they're so pretty. They are so pretty. Okay, let me move the box out of the way because it's in the way. I'm gonna get out all these abalone shell. They're definitely special and gonna get some special treatment. All right, let's show you these. So you can see one side is more like the back side of it, but then you have more of the, there you go. Got to tilt that into the light. Look at that. That's not tilting into the light. There we go. Yes. Oh, they're so pretty. So pretty. Oh, guys, look at these. So there's 6 of those ovals, and then looks like I've got 10 of these rectangles. And again, there's, you know, different sides to each of them, so you can pick and choose what side you want to display. Some of them have more swirling patterns than the others, just cut from different parts of the shell. But look at how beautiful they are. I know at least one of my friends who also gets this box is going to be very excited about the shell selections that have ended up in here. So I'm putting the ovals there and the rectangles here because they're special and they absolutely get that space. Okay, and then we've got all of this goodness. So we've got a whole bunch of these gold glitter pony beads. Gold glitter pony beads. There's a bunch of them. They're a nice, easy way to add a lot of bling. And they're very light, so they don't weigh things down. So those are going to be a lot of fun. Gold glitter pony beads. Get these out of the way. My friends who love sorting, bead sorting, you like this part. Okay, and then we've got these. These are like jet with an AB finish. They're glass beads, but they have a lot of the same feel as those shell beads we were looking at. There's only a few of them, so they may end up being roommates with somebody. But we'll see what we've got. Move that tool out of the way. Oh, maybe they'll roommate with these guys. Remember these guys? That could be fun. Rainbows together. Speaking of rainbows, we've got some more pony beads here that have just a little bit of like, it might even be vitriol, but it gives that rainbow right here on one side, on one half of it. So you get little flashes of that rainbow. I think that one's the vitriol. Like this. Yes. So they just look like clear beads until the OMG, it's gonna like shine at me. I love it. I love it. Got a couple of rounds and I'm dropping more beads because that's what I do. Oh, we've got these cool little rectangles, a few different sizes, a little bit of a variety there. Some of them are more striated with the swirl that's mixed into that glass. And then we've got a whole bunch of these champagne colored, very faceted. Look at that sparkle beads here. Okay, let's see what fits, because this is a lot of beads and it's not going to fit in one section. So I don't know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this isn't the container. I know that it's not enough to do another full 18 grid. And there are a lot of these particular beads. We might need to roommate some things. Maybe our rectangles need to fit in with our ovals, because I think these pony beads are going to be the same situation, where I don't think they're going to fit in one section by themselves. Nope. So this one, the bars come down this direction. Okay, so we might put some other things in there with them. Like, I think maybe that's where we put these rectangle beads, because there is room in with them. There's not as much room in with the faceted crystal cut ones. I like that. That works very well for me. I'm gonna go ahead and see if these rectangles will fit with the ovals. If they do, we'll keep all of that abalone together, because I'm gonna need some more space, friends, because there's 2 strands, 2 vials, and what's left of this that I still need to find little homes for. So we're gonna do this combination. Like I said, these colors go very well with that abalone anyway. And then I also love these crystal guys with the rainbow surprise when they're upright. In fact, looking inside the box, you don't see as much of the rainbow unless you turn some of them that direction. That's so fun. That is so fun. Okay, these ones I'm gonna leave off to the side for just a minute, and we'll see where they fit, because I wanna do these strands. They're the same size, so I'll only need to do this once. One. These are 8mm, just shy of 8mm. We'll call them 8, because I may not be measuring very accurately either. But these are, when I pulled them out on the strand, they're like 2-tone pearl shaped beads, where the coating's only on one side. It's like, it's a clear bead with the coating on exactly half. See that? Those are really cool. I like those. And they'll go in a section. There's a little bit of room in that, but not enough to go crazy. And then we've got these ones. These are more of like a ambery gold tone for the original metal, and then the coating on it. So they're a little bit more moody. And you can see that 2-tone nature on the beading mat as well. It shows that line really clearly. When they're rolling around the dish, it's harder to see that. Okay, so we've got those guys. And then we've got, we have this. I want to put this somewhere. I know where I'm putting this. Because I hadn't pulled this one out yet, but I think I know exactly where I want to put it. I'm gonna go ahead and just snip this here to free the pendant. I love that there's a focal pendant with this. There's a lot of great beads that can become, there's a lot of great focals actually with that flower too. But look at how pretty that is. So it's silver on the back, but it's got that going on. And it is so pretty. Here it is without my fingers in the way. I am loving the colors for that. And I think that it is going to fit perfectly in my main box, because that is where I want it, with these light colored crystals behind it. Definitely the star of the show. I'm absolutely going to be making something with that. I haven't decided what I'm going to make with today though. So, a little reminder, I am going to make something, but I don't know what. Not yet. All right. So, we've got 2 more bead mixes in these tubes. And I think I'm going to be able to get everything to fit in this 15. This was the better choice than this 28, because look at how small some of these are compared to the beads themselves. They wouldn't fit. Not well. especially like this looks like it's bigger because it's closer. They would not fit very well in those. So this was the right solution for this box. Apparently this is something that is going to change with every one of these boxes I open. So let's get this one spilled out. This one is all mixed together, but we've got these cool triangle window cut beads. So they cut them in a triangle shape, and when they cut them, they expose the underlying glass. So it's kind of this light lavender color with like, I don't know if that's travertine on top. I don't know the finishes that well. But we've got a bunch of those. There's actually quite a few of those. And then a smaller number of a mix of fire polish. So we've got these fire polish that are like a pink and purple swirl. Pink and purple swirl. Very romantic color. I like that a lot. And then we've got these, which remind me a lot of some beads that were in the Creep It Real box that I really liked. They had this blue kind of metallic coating on them. I might pull those out of my Creep It Real box and use them with these. That could be fun. There was a lot that I didn't get a chance to use because we had kind of a crazy month last month, so there wasn't a lot. I made a couple of projects using beads from Creep It Real, but not just a whole lot of them. So these ones, I've got my bead scoop right here, are definitely going to be in a thing by themselves because there's tons of them. I'm just giving you another little look. Realized I hadn't actually shown them to you on this. They do look a little bit kind of gray, like a purplish gray. But when they're strung, they're going to be strung with that side exposed. And so you're going to see more of the purple when that happens. I think it's important to think about how it looks when it's strung, because when it's sitting on my dish, it's going to try to put the whole face up, especially with a bead of this shape. But that's not how it's going to look when it's on your jewelry. And then we've got these fire polish beads. I love them. They're so pretty. Okay, I'm going to set these guys aside as well, just because there's only a few of them. I want to see who they're going to roommate with, if anybody. I want to make sure I've got room for beads that we have more of, like in here. So this one is in 3 sections, but it looks like the top and bottom are the same bead. So I'm just going to spill out like this so that I can easily pull the ones out the middle. Move these vials aside. There was a fire polish stuck in that one. So these are very similar to the purple ones we looked at, except they're like a clear baby blue. Instead of having, looks like they have a shimmer, a clear baby blue with a gold shimmer. And they are also cut in an almost triangle. So there's 3 cuts on each of them. And we'll have that kind of window cut. Come on, focus. There. Little kind of window cut edge when you string them. So they're a very similar style to those other beads, but a completely different look. And then we've got these fire polish, which are, I don't know for sure, but they look like they're probably like a jet with like vitriol all over, maybe. I don't know, but they definitely give that rainbow vibe that we've been getting on a lot of these things, where you see all the different colors in it. But there's a pile of those, so that's a lot of fun. Okay. And then I've got these other beads that I said I needed to find homes for, and I will, as I fling beads. I lose beads all the time. In case you haven't noticed, that's just going to be a thing. It's a Jenny thing. It's going to happen. This is a magnetic clasp. I still need to figure out how I want to use that. Oh, they're glue in for cord. Look, this is how you use it. Magnetic clasp ball. 11 millimeter, and you glue in cord or leather. That makes sense. That whole makes sense. Cool. That's something I haven't done anything with yet, so I need to actually. But it's a pretty strong magnet. Well, it's a pretty chunky magnet there. And it's gold tone, and it is labeled as nickel free, so that's going in my thing. These little fold over clasps are also or toggle flat. Let's see how these work. These are also labeled as nickel free. Oh, they are literally toggle clasps. So you do this, and then, wait, wrong way. Hold on. You got to go in this way. And then it's like this. Whoops, I did that off camera. Sorry. Okay. So you put them in like this, and then turn. That's the clasp. So it sticks a little bit coming out, but that's cool. And they are probably also glued in for flat cord, I would imagine. So those are things I can use. I'm putting them here in the front of my little box. Now the ones that I'm not sure about are these ones, which the picture on the back doesn't match what it looks like they are. I can't actually use these without testing the metal, and I have an olfactory disorder, so my sister does all of the metal testing for us. So these ones are going to wait until she can get her hands on them to test. Hang on. Okay. That fire truck was coming very close, and it was responding. It turned down a different street nearby, but it is close. It is my neighborhood, so had to check to make sure that it's not, you know, someone directly next to me or anything like that, and not because of the noise, but because, you know, I care about my neighbors. Okay, so these ones I'm gonna keep separate. Of course, these little Rivolis in here, those can absolutely be used. There's no metal in those. And it's just whether or not I can use these pins and culottes and other items in there, as well as this and this. These are the ones that I don't know if I can use them, so I'm going to keep them in their packaging, and when we take our picture they'll just be kind of in between. They will wait until I can find out how I do with them. So I'm just putting these kind of crystal clear ones in here. I'm putting these guys in with the purple and blue fire polish. They were all part of that same mix anyway. And then I'm putting these triangle cut baby blue ones here in this corner. So let's take a look at all of it together because I'm going to make something. So before I take all this apart, let's take a look at everything that we got in the Marie Antoinette, Curiosity Box from John Bead. And yes, I know I'm going to need to back this out so you can see everything because you can't see everything yet. This is what we got. This was number 16, Marie Antoinette. If you're interested in pre-ordering the next box, I think it's Mistletoe Magic. Check the link below to see if it's still available. That link is also where you'll see the subscription, and it will either say that it's sold out or not. If it doesn't say it's sold out, then you can subscribe. So people, you know, kind of come and go. They might pause their subscription, and it might become available for that reason. So they are limited though. So if you see subscriptions available and you're interested, go ahead and sign up. So yeah, this is the, I'm gonna just move that so that you can see more of the, yeah, there's so many cool beads, friends. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna clear this away and get out some beads I want to play with. I'm kind of feeling bracelet. I'm kind of feeling bracelet today because I do like the idea of using these big chunky beads, but I also really love a lot of these other glittery fun things that we have to play with. So I'm gonna make that decision, and then I will be back here. And I'm back. I am ready to play with some of these beads. I do not have an exact plan in mind. But I do know that I want to do these beads and, or at least play with them. I do want to do the, that joyful beading prompt of using mixed metals. And while these are not actually metal, they are metal tone, and I think they definitely fit the vibe. So, I am going to be making a bracelet, and since these are 2 whole beads, I am going to need enough beading wire to go around my wrist twice in the way I like to use it, plus have room to crimp and have room to cross the wires. So I'm going to see if my guess is about right. I think I'm going to cut about 20 inches. Let's see if that's what I just pulled off. Got my little measuring tape here. Whoop. And then it tried to close on me. All right. Okay, I measured off about 22 inches. I might need less than that. I will let you know when we're done how much we have for scrap. But I wanted to be able to play around. I don't know how many times I'm going to cross them through beads to kind of taper in and out of the design or not. And so I'd rather have more than I need than not enough in this case. And I'm going to get out some crimp tubes. Let's go with copper crimp tubes. I'm using gold, antique copper, and kind of an antique silver tone color. And then I'm also using these gold discs that I think are going to add that little bit of metallic glint. I've got these champagne colored faceted, I think they're not quite round, they're a little bit longer. And then I have these lavender colored triangle table cut beads. I don't know what they're called, but that's how I describe them. And that's what you get from me. I am fairly new to the beading world, so I may not know the precise name to call something, but I will do my best to describe it so you can find something similar in your collection. So I have decided that I'm going to just attach this with a lobster claw and some Rollo chain so that I don't have to worry too much about the length as long as it's not too big. I'll have the what I need to do it. I think I will be fine. I'm going to be using 2 crimps. One is going to be to start it, and I am going to use, I think instead of using jump rings, I am going to go ahead and take my lobster claw that I got. It's an antique copper lobster claw. And I'm just going to string it on my wire. Make sure I got enough. Yeah, I think I have enough for this. So this is my wire folded over. I'm going to string my lobster claw on. Oh, gotta check it. Becky's rules, but it works and it closes properly. It doesn't get stuck. Gonna string that on, and then I am going to move these beads so that we don't have focus problems. I'm going to take my wire. Oh, I didn't tell you about my wire. I just cut a section of, this is the Softflex Metallics in the antique brass color. I thought it would be nice for this kind of mixed metal vibe that I'm going for. Not adding a whole lot of other color. It's just all going to be metal tones. Which is funny because so few of these are actually metal pieces. The crimp tubes, the chain, and the lobster claw are metal. Everything else is just metal tone, but that works. So I am taking my wire and I am feeding the crimp tube through both ends. It'll take me a minute. This is a copper crimp tube. They have the thickest wall. Which means they're really good for learning on, but it also means it is a little bit more difficult to get your beading wire through a couple of times just because there's just a touch less space inside, which is not a problem. So I've got that on there and I'm just cinching it down towards the end of this so that I can make a loop. I want to have enough room for my clasp to move. That's a tiny bit too much because I want room for beads, but this is good. This is good. So I am going to take my magical crimpers. They're meant to be used with 0.018 to 0.019 beading wire. And the Softflex is 0.019, and that's inches. I don't know, it's a 0.48 millimeter. And it only works with 2x2 crimp tubes. Becky and I prefer the soft flex crimp tubes because they have, as I mentioned earlier, a nice thick wall. And there is no seam, which means that instead of crumbling like some crimp tubes might do, these ones hold up really well. They're strong. You're just going to take that, and there's this spherical concavity inside. I'm having a hard time focusing today for some reason. There we go. That's better. Spherical concavity inside. You're just going to center your crimp tube inside there. And when you have it where you want it, just give it a little squish. And you can see, if we can focus, it pinches down the four corners of that crimp tube. So you're just going to take that and rotate it 90 degrees from where it was, so it's straight up and down inside the crimp tube. I'm showing from the bottom because my clasp will be in the way. Again, make sure it's centered. It needs to stay centered throughout the whole process or it will become malformed. So that is an important step. And then I squish it again. And then I open it just a little bit and I squish it again. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with focus here. I actually have a new phone. It might be delivered even while I'm recording this, that I got for recording, that I'm going to try out on a different video. I don't know if it's going to be better at some of the things than what I'm currently dealing with or not, but it has more space. And I found out recently that that was very important because I had a problem with space. Now we've got our crimp tube here, and it's a nice little firm crimp. That's not going anywhere. And we have our 2 hole beads that have about that much space between them. That's a pretty decent sized gap. That's a centimeter between those. And so I am going to need to create a little bit of triangle space between these 2 strands to get to our first tube, which is fine. What I want to do though is find some things that I can put close to here and have a little bit of space. And I think I actually want some seed beads. Maybe I'll do some of these. Let's see how these look. These are very crystally. Add in a little bit of some of those cooler tones. They're silver lined. And we are going to be using the antique silver, but mostly these are warm. This is where I'm playing with beads, by the way. So it'll be a little bit, let me move this so that it's more directly over my workspace. That will probably help. You don't need to see my piles of beads up above. They're up above for a reason. I need to get a little bit of space from each other, but with beads that aren't going to take up much space in and of themselves. So that's why I'm doing these. And I'm going to use my sister's little trick. If you're having trouble getting seed beads on your beading wire, is I think she learned this from Danielle Wicks. I don't remember who she learned it from, but you can take your beading wire and cut it at an angle with your flesh cutters, like this, so that you end up with a little bit of a point. And if you have a little bit of a point, it's a lot easier to get it in the hole of a seed bead. So you might not want your wire to be flush in this way. So that's how I cut that. And I've got 2 on one and 1 on the other. I am doing the whole 2-stranded thing, so it might get a little bit confusing. I'll try to explain what I'm doing as I do it. I don't do very much with 2 hole beads, so this is also me experimenting and kind of playing. And see, with this darker wire in them, they just look like little drops of ice, and I like that. I like it, just a little bit of ice. All right. So then I need a little bit more space. I'm going to take some of these crystals. I don't know how much space I have. Usually I like to work from the middle, especially when I have a focal area. But like I said, I'm going to have a, is this close enough or do I need a smaller bead before I do this is my question. have I created enough before I have these big guys, because they are kind of chunky boys. See, because they want to go off center of each other like this. They don't sit as nicely side by side. I feel like that kind of stretches it too much, which means I either need to have other smaller beads or more of the seed beads before I do them. So I'm going to play with the idea of maybe doing one of these triple window cut beads in that kind of lavender color. Introduce some of the light color that we're adding here to get a little bit farther. They play a little bit better up against the seed beads like this. And now, do these play better now? I think they do. Look how much better those play now with just that little bit of space. And I think that we're just about where we need to be for the to start putting those beads on. But I want to see about, this is where I'm kind of playing with the design and how I like it to look before we fully commit to how many of these we're using. So right now I've got 4 plus a gold bead that I'm thinking of using as a center focal, like crossing back through them. Okay, that's kind of cool. And that fits almost perfectly there. So then if I take these, put these little gold guys on again, playing with the mixed metals. If you don't want to do mixed metals, you could do this with similar beads of the same tone or colored beads even. Because I want the crystals in here too. I don't know if I have enough space to do this, but I want to try. I may not actually use very many of the, no, I will need them when I taper in and out of the lavender color window beads. Okay, so far this is what we've got. And then do the same thing, but with this copper one. And we're gonna see if this is, when I get to that middle bead, if this is about half the bracelet or if I've gone too far. I may have already gone too far. Because this is almost half right here, but they are bigger beads. Oh, excuse, I'm not bruised. Just the bracelet I was wearing earlier is dyed. So, let's do, this might just be a smaller transition. I might have to limit these, maybe take the crystals out. You know what, I'm gonna do that because I need a little bit more space for more of the focal beads, and I will absolutely use those crystals in another project. And these ones, it doesn't matter if you turn it this way or this way, it looks exactly the same. So you don't have to worry too much about which direction you're putting your 2-hole bead on, but you do need to make sure that there is a top and a bottom. So you want to make sure that your bottom, I've got design side up here, so I want to make sure that when I string this on, I've got my design side up so that I don't have that conflict. And they are hollow, so it might be a little bit hard to get that hole, but so far I've been doing pretty good. Okay. Yes, I think that was a good move. It does kind of make more of like a cuff. And this is chunky, like this is meant to be a chunky bracelet. I have a tendency to want to make very delicate things, and there's some things that I really want to make from this box that are definitely going to be on the more delicate side. But these are really interesting beads, but they're chunky. And so they need a chunky design to celebrate them. I do feel like I need these again. And then, let me see. And then these, because again, narrowing down to a smaller smaller area because I want to cross. I didn't check. I think, yeah, that should be a big enough hole for me to cross twice through. Question is that enough, or do I need, I think I need at least one seed bead on either of these. So getting back to my seed beads. Just to have that space to go in and then come back out. And also it's that little bit of sparkle that we're working in, some of that cool toned sparkle as well. All right, and then I'm going to try to cross these through. Let's see, that's the top one. I don't know if it's going to matter, but I'm going to hold them so that I can keep track in case it does. Again, I don't do as much with 2-hole beads, but this right now is top and bottom. That doesn't feel nice to me. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I might have to scrap the idea of using this. I call it a button because it reminds me of my dad's buttons. It's not a button. It's a coin bead. I feel like we need to taper in a little bit better than we had done. And I don't know if that crystal's going to make it too much space or if it's going to be just right. I don't know yet. All right. Again with this is the top one. Just so it doesn't like twist the bracelet when you're trying to put it on or wear it. That's why I think it might matter. Let's see if this feels less congested. That does feel less congested, but it still is a little bit congested. And I think it's not because of the crystals. I think it's because I need more seed beads. The seed beads take up less space than the crystals, so I'm moving the crystals back out because I am worried about space. And instead of just one seed bead on each side, I'm going to do 3 and see if that gives us the space that we need for that to sit nice. That's the current. This is my design process. I did not test all of this ahead of time because I like to just create and play. This is my playtime. Had a busy couple of weeks, kind of a stressful month. Everything is good now. I'm home and family's doing good. We're doing good. I'm excited about all the fun things that we get to make as we head into winter. I'm very much a winter girl, so that's going to be fun. I love the Marie Antoinette box. I'm really looking forward to playing with all the really pretty, delicate things. You know what? It might actually be those gold beads that's making everything cut. See how they're kind of overlapping just a little bit? They don't over here where they're not trying to come together, but I am trying to come together here. I think that's actually the problem. Let me see if I remove those. And I do want these because they'll cover some space. And I do think that I do need more than one seed bead before we go into that middle one. But I think we needed to just remove those gold ones. I wanted them there because of the continuity of the pattern. But things were not sitting well. Let's try this again. And I do apologize if I've gone off screen while I've been messing with that. I am trying to make sure that I stay. We have some really rude neighbors. That would be one of them. It's not even a cool car making that sound. No, it's not. I think my strands got crossed. That's what I was trying to avoid. Okay, so this is the top strand. This is the bottom strand. Yeah, I think that's better. I think that is better. Maybe I should stop trying to make this bead happen. I don't know. bottom, this is the top. I am going to see if I like it when I come back out of it, but I might back off of that design idea entirely and bring in another one of our chunky boys instead, which is totally fine. Totally fine. I'm trying to keep track of which strand is which. So I'm holding one while I string with the other. All right, so if I didn't cross them, then this is my top and this is my bottom. It's not trying to twist on me, so that's good. So if we snug this up, do we like this? Do we like it as a bracelet? I feel like maybe it just comes in too much. Okay, going back to our design, I am gonna stop trying to come back in here in the middle because I think it does throw off the design because these are such big beads. So this is gonna be some fun focal somewhere else. I do really enjoy that bead and I will come back to it. I am also, because I only have 2 of the antique silver and I have a bunch more of the copper, I'm going to change the order that I approach these beads, because if I'm going to not have a focal in the middle, I want to use 5 of these beads. Or just 3. I haven't decided, but either way, the copper needs to be the first one. Let's see how much space this takes. And I think I'm going to do 3. I don't think I'm going to do 5. Because I think this is what I'm going to do. Let's try this and check the length, because I think that I will like this. If we do this and we use crystals in between, so we do the gold disc, the champagne crystal, another gold disc between each of these chunky boys. So we did copper first. This one is the more antique silver toned one. Then it becomes more like this. And there's going to be 3 around, and then like I said, I'll be attaching with a Rolo chain. So I think this is going to end up being the perfect length. I am going to finish stringing this with this pattern, this being the center bead at the moment. We're not going to use very many of the lavender ones. We can use more of them later, and that's totally fine. But I think that this is going to end up being a fun, chunky cuff of a bracelet, because these beads were just really fun and interesting. I hadn't seen them before, and they presented a fun challenge for me because, like I said, I don't work with 2-hole very often, and they're big 2-hole. And get, I think, just 2 more of those actually to come back out of that pattern. As long as this pattern isn't too long, then it's going to be perfect for just attaching a little Rolo chain to the end of this. All right, and then one of these. So when we went into this, the way we tapered out to accommodate the 2-hole beads was we had our gold spacers, we had our crystals, we had a couple of these little lavender dudes, lavender dude, and then 3 seed beads on each side. I know you all have holes because I just pulled you off my strand talking to my seed beads. I have been practicing being able to pick them up with my beading wire. That is not something that I have done naturally. I apologize if I'm chasing the beads around a little bit. Hopefully not too bad. It is a skill I'm continuing to practice, so I do it on camera or not. Okay, so this is how the bracelet would look on my wrist with that as the center focal. We do have a decent amount of space here, but like I said, since I plan on using chain anyway to clasp it, I think that this is fine. This is about how much that I need to wear it, you know, more like a cuff and less dangly, because I do have a tendency to like dangly bracelets, jangly bracelets. But I think that once we attach crimp and attach the loop, and see, I do have a lot of extra wire because I ended up not crossing back through in the middle, so I didn't use as much there as I thought I might. So you probably do need less wire to do this project than what I did, and that's okay. I think that's kind of cool. Certainly sparkly, definitely hits the mixed metal theme. And this is where I might run into a little bit of trouble, because remember what I said about copper crimps and having a hard time fitting 2 passes of the wire through it? I need to try to fit 3 right now. If I can't, I'm going to use 2 crimps to finish this. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So we get 2 passes through. Okay. So I'm here twice. I need to try to loop back through to create a loop, a 3rd pass. I think I'm just going to use another crimp tube. I don't think I can fit a 3rd one through. Not with the medium beading wire. If this was a different color, their walls are not quite so thick as the copper. The copper are definitely the thickest walls from Softflex. I'm going to give it just a moment longer to see if I can get it through. Oh, maybe. Maybe, guys. Maybe. I feel movement. I feel movement. Not enough. It's like trying to poke out there. See that? Okay, no. Rather than struggle with that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to crimp it to close our little triangle here. And when I do that, I'm going to snip off one of these wires, and leave the other one. And that's the one I'm going to create a loop with to use another crimp to actually like finish that off. They'll just be side by side, but this is not a crimper. Don't use it until after you've crimped, please, friends. So I'm doing 2 things differently when I do this. So this is the second crimp I'm doing. The first thing I'm doing is I got it as close to these beads as I could, but I made sure that I'm clear of those beads before I crimp, okay? And the other thing that I'm doing is after I squeeze that, instead of opening it and showing you the ravioli, I'm just going to rotate that. Just rotate it that 90 degrees that I told you we needed, making sure it stays centered. And then I'm going to squeeze again. Now, the reason that I do that is because I found that for me, it kind of looks like an insect right now with those long, long wires coming out. Sorry if that creeps you out. I found that it was easier for me to make sure that it stayed centered if I didn't remove my crimp from the tool. So I just kept squeezing around until I didn't get any resistance anymore, and I've got this little coppery ball of crimp. So I'm going to go ahead and snip one. Doesn't matter which one because they're the same length. And this is, so that you know, an extra very long, it's a 6-inch length. So I did not need 22 inches. I was definitely overestimating, but this is a fantastic length to work with when making an earring. And I'm not going to do that today, but I might do that later. But let's finish this bracelet. So now I've got just the one strand coming out. I'm going to grab another crimp tube. And you know what? Let's make it a little bit decorative, this extra little segment, because I have a little bit of space to use up anyway. Let's go ahead and use one of these. I think that's pretty. So this has turned, so it's backwards, but I think that's pretty. So I'm not actually going to put the crimps right next to each other. We're going to make this a little bit of a decorative extension. So I'm going to go ahead and work that back through. And I'm also going to close this loop without worrying about it, because this Rolo chain I plan to use is not soldered. And so I can attach the chain. Well, you know what? I can also attach the chain directly to the loop and not have to open it. Can't I? Here we go. Just slide it through that first link. I'll cut off the length that I want later. There we go. That's our antique copper Rolo chain. Yeah, I'm having a really hard time focusing today, guys. Sorry. Okay. Getting that fed back through, making sure it's got a little bit of play, but not really much, because I am connecting it directly to that chain that I'm using basically as an extender chain with my lobster claw. We'll use the Rolo for that. But I think that's very similar to the loop I made on the other side. I am going to scooch it as close as I can to this crystal and still be able to operate the pliers, because I want the rest of this to fit snug enough that we don't have gaping stuff where we're going into and out of those triangles. See what I mean? Oh, I've already crimped it. That actually doesn't matter as much because I already crimped it. I made it nice and snug when I did that. And again, I'm not going to describe this one. I'm just going to do it as I did the one that I just did, where I'm just making sure that I keep it centered. I'm holding the chain up a little bit so that it's not in my way while I turn my pliers around that little crimp tube and make sure that it's turned into a nice little ball of crimp attached to my chain. And now I'm just going to snip off this excess wire. A little bit harder to get in close because I did choose a large bead right up against that. But that's okay. That is really good. Okay. So now I need to decide where on this chain. So I'm going to have the chain drape over like this. Hold the chain, because I would anyway if it was an extender chain. And take my lobster claw and figure out where I want to be able to attach it, and then leave myself a little bit beyond that. So this is the hardest part for me, and why I will often choose magnetic clasps over lobster claws, is because I hate trying to open a lobster and keep it open while I'm connecting things. It's just a pain. What is your favorite kind of clasp? Are you a fan of the lobster, or are you a fan of a toggle, magnetic? What's your favorite kind of clasp? Tell me what you think. I'm just going to end up like knocking my beads everywhere too. Come on. I was doing so good. I had that lobster open and I thought I had it in the Rolo and it didn't actually catch. Maybe I chose the wrong chain. No, it's fine. I might have chosen the wrong chain. But that's, I like my bracelet to be able to rotate, but not to slide off my hand. So that is a good fit for me. So this is how much I have left. I'm gonna want to have a little bit left over from that so that I have something to hang on to when I'm clasping, as you saw. So I'm gonna go ahead and I need it off my wrist so that I can use both my hands, but oof. So about here, this is where I want to open my, I could cut it, but also, like I said, I'm pretty sure these are not soldered, so they'll open. Using my pliers. Okay. And that just comes off right there. And I kind of want to put a dangle there now. I'm going to leave this open. And I'm going to grab one of my, not that. I thought I had, you know what, we're mixed metals. We'll do that one. No, we'll do gold. These are just 24 gauge ball pins. I don't need this to be strong and hold like an extra special, it's not going to be heavy, it's not going to be pulled. I mean, it is going to be pulled because I'm going to use it as that, but for what I plan on doing, this should be fine. I'm just going to take one of these little 24 gauge pins, and I think I'm going to put a seed bead, one of these lavender guys, because we didn't actually use them very much, but this way it's a nice small dangle. Just a small dangle, and I'm actually going to snip this down so that it's about 2 centimeters, so down from where it is. I want to get two rolls from it, so I'm going to roll a loop to be able to use as a dangle. So I don't want it to be really fat, but I do want it to double over. Oh, I didn't get my round nose out because I didn't think I was going to need them. I usually use round nose if I'm making links or making earrings. I was not planning on these. So one of the things that I learned for doing, just from experimenting with it, when I do my rolled loops, I struggled a lot with getting it centered. And so I kept trying to fold it over first, but it's such a soft wire that it would shift its position. I tried to fold it over after, and it just didn't work. So what I started to do, I'm just going to pinch that wire between my jaws of my round nose plier here, and I'm just going to roll that toward me against my finger so that it just kind of forms against it. And I'm just going to keep rolling. I'm going to get about this far from that bead, and then I'm going to bend it back and then do that final little roll. And I end up with a centered rolled loop. That's how I discovered I needed to do that. So just get close to the end, do your bend back, and then finish that roll, and it will hold its position better than trying to bend it first or bending it after. That's been my experience anyway. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my chain back here, hold it with my bent chain nose, slide on my little rolled loop dangle, and then close this link on my chain. And now I have a cute little dangle to help me attach my bracelet, which I'm not going to put you through having to watch me do again, just because, you know, I struggled with that enough today. The dangle will help, but you saw how the bracelet fit on me. That was the important part. I'm going to move these beads out of the way, my crimp tubes out of the way, and let's take one last look at my bracelet, but also, hey, we opened a big old box, didn't we? So these guys can go back up in here where their friends are. All these beads that I didn't quite finish using, they're going to end up in that last shot as well. Seed beads, no, but these other guys, yes. So first, the bracelet. This is the Chunky mixed metal bracelet that I made that has that glitter and glam. I like that these beads are really funky, but I also used some of the stuff that is really delicate and decadent from the Marie Antoinette box. I think that is nice, and we use this nice soft romantic lilac color too. a little bit unexpected, but just touches of it. So I hope you like this bracelet. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and get it to sit nicely. I'm going to have to take a picture of this after all. So get the bracelet to sit nicely at an angle. That's going to take a better picture. But for you guys, you'll see it better flat out. So I'm going to leave it flat out for the rest of this video. But we've got this beautiful bracelet that we made. And we have these beads, zoom back out because that's what we do, as well as some other special components and goodies that were all part of this Marie Antoinette collection. Trying to place them to where they're not covering the bracelet, but that can be partially under the box. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a last look at all of it together, where you can see everything that came in here. And this was that's going to be a little bit too big, but maybe we can slide this in here for the part of the image. Yes, Our Lady Marie Antoinette. And I loved learning that she was a beater, that she found joy in that. So, you know, like I said, love her, hate her, there's a lot of history with Marie Antoinette. That it was an interesting thing to learn. And so I'm glad that I got to learn that from John Bead. I love this box. Thank you for curating something so fun and special. And I cannot wait to make more with this. There are so many great ideas. I don't even know, like a month is not enough time to make with this what I want to make, plus everything else I need to make. So I am looking forward to this. I appreciate the selection, the choice, the wide variety that we get. So just a reminder, this is available as a subscription or as individually purchased. The subscriptions are limited because these are vintage beads. And when I recorded this, there are subscriptions available. I don't know how many, but it does not say sold out. There are also pre-order slots open for the Mistletoe Magic box. And so if you aren't able to get the subscription but want to pre-order that box or just want to try a box, check that out and see if it is available as well. That's kind of it in a nutshell. I told you I'd leave you some links for the challenge I'm participating in with the Joyful Beading. And I think there was another thing. Oh, Stash Camp. I think it was Stash Camp, Jennifer Miller's channel for Stash Camp. So check out Jennifer Miller's channel for Stash Camp. Check out the Joyful Beading at the Softflex VIB group, and absolutely check out John Bead Curiosity Box. This is not at the John Bead website. It is John Bead Friends and Family. The link will be below, and I'm just thrilled with this. I'm really excited to be able to make with it. And I hope that you enjoyed this organization video with a small bracelet tutorial. Anyway, have fun, happy beading, and don't forget to play. Bye, friends.